has just released a full page statement in the Wall Street Journal, essentially apologizing for his behavior, acknowledging some of his challenges, acknowledging his mental illness, and talking about how it's affected him.
Nice. That's nice.
Let's go through it because it's really important. It begins with, to those I've hurt, 25 years ago, I was in a car accident that broke my jaw and caused injury to the right frontal lobe of my brain.
If people don't know, that was when he dropped the College Dropout, man. One of the most classic albums and honestly a staple in the hip hop industry.
At the time, the focus was on the visible damage, the fracture, the swelling, and the immediate physical trauma. The deeper injury, the one inside my skull, went unnoticed. Comprehensive scans were not done, neurological exams were limited, and the possibility of a frontal lobe injury was never raised. It wasn't properly diagnosed until 2023. That medical oversight caused serious damage to my mental health and led to my bipolar type 1 diagnosis.
Now, listen, them timelines aren't really making sense. Now, it wasn't diagnosed till 2023, but people already knew, bro. Kanye is one of those artists that I really do rock with and respect. I'm from the south side of Chicago. He's made a huge impact on me, but I don't like liars. And on the south side, you get knocked for being a liar. And I feel like Kanye West, he gets away with a little bit of half truths because of his mental illness at times. But I want to be respectful to what his story is and what he has to say. So let's finish it out.
Bipolar disorder comes with its own defense system. Denial. When you're manic, you don't think you're sick, you think everyone else is overreacting. You feel like you're seeing the world more clearly than ever, when in reality, you're losing your grip entirely. Once people label you as crazy, you feel as if you cannot contribute anything meaningful to the world. It's easy for people to joke and laugh it off, when in fact this is very serious, debilitating.
I know a lot about this, man, because I have people in my family affected by mental illnesses and such, bro. So I really do take it serious about what it's saying. And for someone who has those experiences in first person experience as well, it's not a joke. And people do deal with these issues in their own ways, especially a lot of them coping and a lot of them also sometimes not taking those medications because sometimes the person off of them is the real them, but the spiral isn't, if that makes sense.
Disease you can die from. According to the World Health Organization, Cambridge University, people with bipolar disorder have a life expectancy that is shorter by 10 to 15 years on average and a 2 to 3 times higher all-cause mortality rate than the general population.
Yeah, bro, because it's a lot of irrational, not always decision making, but it can be just the mental of being in a more irrational mindset. They can risk and have a lot of these big issues, man. It's a big reason why I really feel as if Ye has done a lot of really impactful things, and I feel like people should really try to also remember that you can't look at Ye without understanding the mental illness with it. It's like looking at Picasso without understanding what he did to become that man who created those paintings.
This is on par with severe heart disease, type 1 diabetes, HIV, and cancer, all lethal and fatal if left undone. It makes
Like little pieces like that, you know what I'm saying, bro? Little pieces like that, bro. Like, yeah.
you blind but convinced you have insight. You feel powerful, certain, unstoppable. I lost touch with reality. Things got worse the longer I ignored the problem. I said and did things I deeply regret. Some of the people I loved the most, I treated the worst. You endured fear, confusion, humiliation, the exhaustion of trying to have someone who was at times unrecognizable. Looking back, I became detached from my true self.
And that's really sad to hear, bro. I feel like one thing that I don't really look at, different that is that this is a grown middle-aged man. Like you're a grown man, bro. And I think that's one of the biggest issues that I don't really see. And this is me. I'm from the South Side, bro. Listen to every Kanye album, front and back. My favorite album is Late Registration. I've really lived and breathed the essence that Kanye left. His impact has been felt, and his impact has literally been a driving force in the South Side for over 20 some years, bro. So from someone who really understands at least what Kanye tried to show us in the area he was speaking on, I don't really be hearing him sometimes with things like this because yes, you're in a fractured state. Yes, you're in a debilitated mindset, but you are a multi-millionaire. You're a father. You have a legacy. You have to get a grip, and you can't pretend as if you don't have the funds to be able to take and get that help. Like you don't have the support system who wants to help you. Like you don't have a personal support system who are also financially stable that want to help you. So sometimes it just feels as if there's only so many times you can hear somebody before they gets on deaf ears. But I still want to hear what he has to say.
In that fracture state, I gravitated towards the most destructive symbol I could find, the swastika, and even sold t-shirts bearing it. One of the difficult aspects of having bipolar type 1 are the disconnected moments, many of which I still cannot recall. This led to poor judgment and reckless behavior that oftentimes feels like an out-of-body experience. I regret.
All right, dude. Whatever, bro. Whatever, bro. The one thing about Ye, bro, is that he never can admit when his decisions are filled with anger and hate. And I think that's why an issue of why I can't always rock with him. It's understandable to say, oh, you went to those decisions, but you can't say that you didn't understand those came from hate, anger, and things like that. If you dislike those group of people for whatever reasons, dislike them. But to then bear a sigil that means a lot of more stuff that you may have even wanted to comprehend, you're getting behind an image, a symbol now. Like, you have to understand that that comes with something serious. And it could be a positive symbol, it could be a negative symbol. But when you stand behind a symbol, now you're building something and standing behind and potentially living or for a symbol. And that's that's pretty serious. To me, that's pretty serious.
And I'm deeply mortified by my actions in that state, and I'm committed to accountability, treatment, and meaningful change. It does not excuse what I did, though. I am not an Nazi. I am not an anti-Semite. I love Jewish people. To the black community, which held me down through all the highs and lows in the darkest of times, the black community is unquestionably the foundation of who I am. I'm sorry to have let you down. I love us. In early 2025, I fell into...
That's not good enough, bro. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be very, very real. Of all the things bro said, to give our community the shortest time and the most breeze through, he didn't speak on some of the issues that came out with having, potentially the church and the people that he was bringing in when he was doing the Sunday services. He didn't speak on the issues, what they were saying, where he could have been effectively overusing his power with those women. He didn't speak on the issues where he let a lot of young black athletes who had a future and a career, you wasted 2 to 3 years of their futures, and potentially you lost them the chance to play professional sports because you had them believing in a lie down to high school. You haven't really spoke about a lot of the things that in the south side of Chicago, where you said that you were going to make a Yeezy manufacturer and it never happened. I'm not saying these things to downplay or to disrespect Ye. I'm not even saying them to just bash him. I'm saying them to say that there's a lot of things that Ye has done personally to the Chicago community and also intentionally to the American community. I hope that he goes a little bit more in depth about those things, because I felt like his apology toward the Jewish people was very genuine, and his apology toward us, it ain't really ringing the same feeling.
A 4-month-long manic episode of psychotic, paranoid, and behavior that destroyed my life. As the situation became increasingly unsustainable, there were times I didn't want to be here. Having bipolar disorder is notably a state of constant mental illness. When you go into a manic episode, you are ill at that point. When you're not in an episode, you're completely normal. And that's when the wreckage from the illness hits the hardest. Hitting rock bottom a few...
That's very, very saddening that he didn't go more in depth about anything with the urban community. That's very disappointing. Extremely disappointing, actually.
A few months ago, my wife encouraged me to finally get help. I found comfort in Reddit forums of all places. Different people speak of being in manic or depressive episodes of a similar nature. I read their stories and realized that I was not alone. It's not just me who ruins their entire life once a year despite taking meds every day and being told by the so-called best doctors in the world that I am not bipolar but merely experiencing symptoms of autism.
Okay, bro. Okay. I don't think this man Ye is that with the A. Usually those things have a strong genetic disposition, and beyond that, it would have been something that would have been noticed a long time ago. However, there are things that are true about how people with those things have stronger abilities to create, to get into the zones, to be focused and have these abilities creatively. I will not deny that. But let's be real. It can't just be these. It can't be the lack of the mother. It can't be the bipolar. It can't be the A. It can't be the confusion on the Jewish people. It can't be the nitrous oxide. It's too much deflection. It's very, very interesting to see how people treat other people based on their followings and off their fame. Because I don't think the average person would even get a tenth of these options, especially if they were anywhere near as heavy with how much they doubled down as Mr. Ye.
My worlds as a leader in my community have global impact and influence. In my mania, I lost complete sight of that. As I find my new baseline and new center through an effective regime of medication, therapy, exercise, and clean living, I have newfound much needed clarity. I'm pouring my energy into this. I write today simply to ask for your patience and understanding as I find my way.
Yeah, I'm not feeling that. I'm gonna be real. I'm not really feeling that. I feel as if this is kind of weak, bro. This is kind of weak. This is kind of weak. And I'm not feeling that at all. I feel like, yay, I'm gonna tap into Bully, bro, because I'm a genuine fan of the music, bro. But I don't really see this man, Ye, being. I don't think he's the leader of the culture no more. I feel like you can appreciate his music, but anybody that says they ain't lost respect for him, bro, I don't think you being genuine with yourself. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, man. Let me know how y'all feel overall about all this stuff going on, bro. Let me know how y'all feel about Ye. Like, comment, subscribe, and we gone.